Now, probably tomorrow, the government's going to give the green light to at least the first phase of HS2. It's turned into quite a big and difficult decision for the Prime Minister, with his party ambivalent about the project and arguments around HS2's cost and effectiveness. But ahead of that decision, forget the national debate on high-speed rail, HS2 is the subject of innumerable local arguments as well. With ground preparation for the line underway between London and Birmingham, HS2 faces some serious Middle England opposition. This is not NIMBY arguments around noise, but more about preserving the nation's trees and forests. Late last week, I went to Warwickshire to two sites next to a polo club and inside a forest where HS2 work is underway. Not just preparing ground the width of the line itself, but work preparing a larger area where construction itself can take place. So here's a close-up look at the HS2 ground wall. We're hearing a lot about HS2, thinking of it as planned railway, but actually a lot's going on to prepare it and a lot's going on in terms of trying to stop it. And here we are, we can see a couple of protesters with their Stop HS2 banners.
Raising awareness, basically. A bit earlier we were talking to the cars that were waiting at the traffic lights to talk to them about HS2. It's worked out perfectly.
You're getting a fair bit of support.
I'm a primary school teacher, so I've given up the day to come out and support this protest.
Hang on, you bunked off school to come and do this?
I'm a supply teacher, so that's at my discretion. I just think this is a project that will benefit the few at great expense to our countryside, and that to me seems wrong.
We're away from the road now. Verity, what are we seeing here?
Same as on the outside, I guess. We're looking to protect a very thick hedgerow, and this is an area that HS2 is currently trying to destroy, and we're trying to prevent it.
Hey, I've got biscuits, everybody. Shortbread. Oh, M&S.
Why not? You're giving the impression of being posh middle-class demonstrators here. Yeah. This isn't Swampy. Swampy didn't go to M&S for his shortbread.
That was his mistake.
Now here, with some of the other protesters, is PM listener Nikki.
There is still an ongoing review. We have not had an answer as to whether this project is going to proceed or not. And it seems completely illogical to us to be doing irreversible damage, things you can't just put back.
Do you see any green case for HS2?
I can see the argument there. Unfortunately, to build anything high speed, the environmental damage is a lot more.
Because you have to make the line straighter.
It has to go in a straighter line.
And it uses more energy to get people going at speed.
And it has to be built on this huge concrete base. If we can go a bit slower, not have to use so much concrete.
Well, we leave the roadside protesters behind, and I jump in the car with Matt Bishop. He's one of the anti-HS2 ringleaders here in Warwickshire.
We're now going to take you to Cubbington Woods. Okay, so we're leaving Welsh's Road camp.
We take a short detour to get a look at the HS2 works nearby. If ever you thought, is HS2 really happening, this would seem to indicate quite a lot is going on. We've got major earth-moving works here. Bulldozers, high-vis jackets, and a lot of soil heaped up.
So that is basically the compound for the tunnel boring machine. It's a huge machine. It takes 30 lorries to bring that in.
And we pull in to look at some trees with purple ribbons tied to them.
All of these trees have been marked for felling. This is actually an ancient pear tree. So where the trees are marked for felling, some local ladies have gone round and marked the ribbons on the tree so people are aware.
And then to the woods nearby, where the first camp in this area was set up.
So we're walking into South Cubbington Woods. It's a shame we're not here at sunrise, because you listen to the bird song in here at sunrise, it's absolutely fantastic. Or if you come at night time, you listen to the owls calling to each other. I've never heard anything like that before in my life.
They're well organised here. There's a rota to ensure the camp's manned by at least 2 people, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Right, now we are just coming to the main camp in Cubbington, shrouded in smoke from their fire, surrounded by metal grated fencing, and we've got about half a dozen tents here.
Welcome to our woodland home.
Hello, God, what a beautiful fire. Look at that. That's a real nice...
So this is where it all happens. This is where we chew the fat. This is
Yeah.
where we sing.
What's the point in chopping down all our lovely trees? The disappointment brings me to my knees. And then I saw this place. Now I'm a believer. There's not a trace.
I'm Karen Lewis-Bell. I'm a local resident. I've been using the woods for a long, long time, and when in 2010 we knew HS2 was coming right through it, I started organising some walks around the woods to show people what we'd lose. In March, it's a complete carpet of lovely white anemones, followed in May by the bluebells.
And tell me about yourself. Have you been a protester before?
No, never been involved in any protest action, but quite prepared to be on the front line trying to stop HS2 coming through these woods.
Let us suppose the government says HS2 goes ahead. Are you going to be here come what may?
I have to be a bit careful because I don't want to get arrested because I work in education, but I will be here supporting any protest action, but there are others that will continue.
I wonder whether you might have said the same of any big construction project this country's ever been through. You know, the M1, the M25, the West Coast Railway line, all these things that changed the economic geography of Britain in the past. Do you think we should never have done any of those things?
I think that's a very valid point, but I think every project needs to be taken in regard to what we know at that time. Now, we've learnt a lot in the last 30 years in terms of the environment, how important natural habitats and things are, and what that means. You know, are we not just creating another reference point? Well, it was okay here, therefore we can go on and do similar destructive actions somewhere else. You know, at some point we need to just readdress the balance.
If this camp wasn't here, these ancient woods have been taken out. The last weekend in September we came in here and set up a camp. On the Monday, their tree removal contractor turned up with chainsaws, but then couldn't do it because there was a camp here.
I'd just like to know what your background is, what your day job is, effectively.
I'm a qualified accountant and a corporate treasurer in large international groups.
We work together. We've got a local business, hotel.
Hoteliers, yeah.
I'm an artist.
I'm a company director.
I'm the trustee of a conservation charity working in the Congo.
Retired science teacher and ecologist.
Procurement officer.
Charity fundraiser and yoga teacher.
Voluntary language teacher for refugees and migrants. And may I just say that the hundreds of other people who taking time out of work, who just pop along.
Just while you're all here, I'm interested in your political background. How many of you would describe yourself as Conservative voters out of interest?
In the past.
Have been.
But definitely not now.
Have been and probably future. But I'm hoping that someone's
if
got the...
HS2 stops.
We're looking for leaders, people that are going to step outside rather than just following the party line. That's what we're really looking for.
We're walking up to the Champion pear tree. It's called Champion because it's a veteran wild pear tree. It was thought to be the largest in the country. Turns out it's the second largest. It won Tree of the Year in 2015. Part of the mitigation by HS2 is to make a bench out of it for us. They can keep the bench. So we're just going to go out of the woods now. You can see the mitigation works. There's some young saplings that have been planted, but they left them unwatered in the drought, so they all died. So I don't trust that the mitigation, that it will actually replace woodland that we're losing at the rate required.
Right, now can I see the pear tree there? Is that it just ahead of us there?
Yes, it's that lovely old tree. It's coming into leaf and you'll see it's got a post box because people write to the pear tree knowing its plight, and it's not even in its full beauty at the moment. All that white blossom to follow, lovely red colours in the autumn.
And this has to go, does it? They couldn't keep that.
That's right on the line.
But if I was being brutal, I'd say, did you know this pear tree was here before you came to fight HS2 and you knew it was going to lose it?
I did. When I lived in Cubbington many years ago, I used to bring all my friends up to see it. It's just absolutely beautiful, stunning. It's our icon, really. It's what we stand for.